Africa. A continent of beautiful people, picturesque landscapes and various natural resources, a diverse land of extremely gifted people. But amidst all the wealth and blessings, the people struggle, while another class thrives at their expense. The sons of presidents, the heirs of power. Private jets cutting through African skies, while farmers watch their crops wither. Billion-dollar contracts signed in marble offices as students march for unpaid teachers. Champagne dripping on gold Rolexes in a land where hospitals have no equipment or medicine. This is not just inequality. This is royalty. This is part 2 of how Africa's presidential sons bawl on their own country. Welcome back to Bad, Bad People, where we deep dive into the most mind-boggling cases. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss any episode. Mobutu Sese Seko ruled Zaire like a monarch for over 3 decades, famously donning leopard print hats and building lavish palaces deep in the jungle. His grip on power wasn't limited to politics, it extended into personal wealth, and his family benefited immensely. His sons, including Mobutu, were sent to elite schools in Europe, far removed from the poverty back home. They lived comfortably in luxury residences across France and Switzerland. Even after Mobutu was overthrown in 1997, many of these overseas properties remained in the family's control, untouched by authorities. Despite calls for asset recovery, much of the wealth stayed hidden in European bank accounts and real estate holdings. Reports from international institutions, including the IMF, highlighted that Mobutu had allegedly siphoned off over $5 billion during his rule. This massive looting contributed directly to the collapse of national infrastructure and public services in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo. While the Congolese people faced civil war, crumbling hospitals and starvation, Mobutu's children continued to enjoy private jets, elite clubs, and designer lifestyles abroad, symbolizing one of the most extreme cases of generational political wealth in African history. Yoweri Museveni has ruled Uganda since 1986, making him one of the longest-serving leaders in Africa. But today, it's his son, General Muhoozi who's stepping into the limelight. Appointed to lead the military, Muhoozi's rise is viewed by many as a deliberate move to secure the presidency for another generation of Museveni rule. Known for his online presence, Muhoozi regularly makes headlines for his controversial tweets, from joking about invading Kenya to suggesting he's already preparing to take over as Uganda's next leader. His life is filled with state-sponsored privileges, access to military planes, foreign trips, high-end vehicles, and VIP parties attended by government insiders. This lifestyle stands in stark contrast to the realities faced by most Ugandans. According to government statistics, over 40% of the youth remain unemployed. Access to quality healthcare and education remains limited in rural areas. Yet, Muhoozi's growing influence points toward a political system shaped more by bloodline than by ballot box. For many, Uganda is sliding toward hereditary rule, where power is passed not through democratic choice, but through family ties reinforced by military control and elite privilege. President William Ruto of Kenya rose to power on the image of a self-made man, the hustler president, championing the struggles of ordinary citizens. However, the lives of his children reveal a lifestyle far removed from hardship. June Ruto, his daughter, married a Nigerian tycoon in a wedding that showcased presidential-level extravagance. The event featured private jets, high-profile guests, and international coverage. Meanwhile, Nick Ruto, the president's son, regularly appears on social media flaunting designer clothes, luxury gadgets, and hosting parties that draw in Kenya's elite. The family's public celebrations often trend online, not for humility or patriotism, but for their scale and opulence. At the same time, ordinary Kenyans are grappling with a harsh economic reality. Nairobi's informal settlements continue to expand as millions struggle with food insecurity and rising unemployment. Protests over the soaring cost of living have erupted across the country, with many feeling betrayed by a government that promised economic reform. While the president urges austerity and fiscal discipline, his children are seen stepping in and out of luxury boutiques and first-class flights. The contrast has sparked growing criticism and debate about privilege, accountability, and the true cost of leadership. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, now Nigeria's president, has long been associated with wealth and influence. But it's his son, Seyi Tinubu, whose lifestyle is drawing national attention. Seyi's social media presence displays images of helicopter rides, parties in Dubai, and an impressive collection of luxury watches. He frequently flies private and attends exclusive events, projecting an image of power and success. Beyond appearances, Seyi is linked to several businesses in media, tech, and advertising, sectors that reportedly benefit from major government contracts. His alleged involvement in Owando plc, one of the country's largest indigenous oil and gas companies, and ties to energy deals have raised questions about conflict of interest and state capture. The CEO of Owando itself, Adewale Tinubu, is the president's nephew. Critics point to a pattern of influence. His father's long-standing grip on Lagos politics, installing and removing governors on a whim, helping to bring the late former president Muhammadu Buhari to power, and ultimately successfully claiming the current presidency as Emilokan, a Yoruba slogan, which translates to "It is my turn."
This is a serious mandate. I hereby accept it. That mandate to serve you, be your servant, and not be your leader.
The family also has its tentacles in toll road proceeds and prime real estate deals in Lagos. Meanwhile, Nigerians wait in fuel queues, struggle with skyrocketing inflation, and face worsening insecurity. The contrast between the ruling family's wealth and the daily challenges of ordinary citizens has ignited a national conversation. Is political leadership serving public interest or protecting dynasties? Who can govern Nigeria and turn the perennial tide of kleptocracy? Jacob Zuma's presidency was marked by controversy, but his children were already prominent figures in the country's shadowy political economy before his downfall. Duduzane Zuma, in particular, gained notoriety for his close ties to the Gupta family.
What do you, Duduzane Zuma, think the Guptas wanted from you?
I didn't think they wanted anything from me. I think they liked me as I liked them. I think I'm a likable guy.
At the center of South Africa's state capture scandal. Often seen stepping out of luxury Bentleys, dancing on yachts, or giving bold interviews, Duduzane's lifestyle became a symbol of unchecked power and privilege. Despite his claims of innocence, his name surfaced repeatedly in allegations involving massive government contracts allegedly steered through Gupta influence.
As a criminal, I'm looked at as this face of corruption, this guy that's plundered trillions out of this country, which is not the case, by the way.
Investigations revealed he played a role in facilitating introductions between state entities and Gupta businesses. fueling suspicions about conflict of interest and misuse of political connections. The Zondo Commission highlighted how state-owned enterprises were drained through politically connected deals. Yet, even as load shedding and economic stagnation deepened for everyday citizens, the Zuma family maintained their wealth. The contrast was glaring. Ordinary South Africans sat in the dark, while the politically connected partied under Dubai's lights. Cyril Ramaphosa entered office with promises to fight corruption and rebuild trust in governance. But his administration soon faced questions about whether political renewal extended to his own household.
We shall heal the divisions of our past and overcome the ongoing inequalities and hardships of the present.
Andile Ramaphosa, the president's son, came under fire in 2019 when it was revealed that his company had received over $130,000 from Bosasa, an organization deeply implicated in corruption. Andile maintained the payment was for legitimate consultancy work linked to a Chinese business project. However, the timing and the source raised suspicions. Bosasa had already been named in a series of graft investigations.
I'd like for you to tell the people of this country how much exactly did your son benefit from Bosasa, which has had a generally corrupt relationship with your party.
And critics viewed the payment as a sign of how family connections blur lines between business and politics. Meanwhile, many South Africans continued to face high crime rates, rising youth unemployment, and deep inequality. For a country still grappling with the structural legacy of apartheid, the idea that powerful families benefit while millions struggle has only deepened public frustration. Robert Mugabe's nearly four-decade rule in Zimbabwe was marked by repression and economic collapse.
$10 million notes, which were probably worth less than the paper they were printed on. They eventually got up to $3 trillion bills before the Zimbabwean dollar was ditched.
Despite the widespread hardship his governance caused, his son Robert Mugabe Jr., known as Chatunga, lived a life of extreme luxury and excess. Chatunga's lavish lifestyle became infamous online, where he once bragged about pouring champagne on a $60,000 Rolex watch. Videos showed him clubbing in upscale venues and residing in grand mansions in Johannesburg, South Africa, far removed from the daily struggles faced by Zimbabweans. While inflation skyrocketed and food shortages worsened, the Mugabe brothers flaunted wealth and decadence.
Formerly known as a breadbasket of Africa, Zimbabwe has suffered perennial shortages in recent years.
A stark contrast to their father's original rhetoric of fighting Western imperialism and elitism. In Zimbabwe, citizens endured power blackouts, empty supermarket shelves, and frequent protests demanding basic necessities, all while Mugabe's sons epitomized the very excess and privilege their father once condemned. Their lifestyle symbolized a bitter irony. The ruling family's indulgence amidst the suffering of the people, highlighting the deep divide between political elites and ordinary Zimbabweans. After Mugabe's fall, many Zimbabweans hoped for a new era under Emmerson Mnangagwa. Yet, the president's tenure soon revealed familiar patterns of corruption and privilege.
Mnangagwa's biggest challenge is fixing Zimbabwe's economy, ruined by decades of corruption and mismanagement under Robert Mugabe's rule.
Mnangagwa's children quickly established themselves within the country's elite, enjoying lifestyles at odds with the nation's dire economic state. His sons have been seen driving Lamborghinis, attending luxury events, and wearing expensive Italian suits. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe's economy teeters on the brink of collapse, relying heavily on external aid and struggling with inflation and unemployment.
That's a lot to say. My son has a degree. My son is educated enough in Zimbabwe, but he can't even afford to send me groceries at the market.
Political rallies often mask a deeper reality. Government critics accuse Mnangagwa's family and inner circle of running a shadow state that controls resources and power behind the scenes. Reports from the World Bank highlight the country's economic stagnation, while civil servants continue to protest over unpaid wages and deteriorating working conditions. For many Zimbabweans, the promise of change has given way to a frustrating sense of déjà vu. A new president presiding over the same suffering, with the ruling family enjoying the same privileges as before. In the end, across Africa, leaders come and go, but corruption remains. The names, they reincarnate. The lifestyles, they escalate. The people, they wait. While Africa's youth dream of change, presidential sons live like emperors, draped in designer wear, soaked in privilege, and seemingly oblivious to the struggles of their own streets. Africa rises, but for whom? For the people or for the princes? If this episode made you reflect, share your thoughts below. Which story shocked you the most? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next expedition.